Welcome back, everyone, to the Art of a Peaceful Mind. My name is Kim Root, and today we have with us Shailesh Ramessar, um, and he is going to talk with us about um, some things you may or may not have heard of about the twin flame and about the ego and soul. I'm really interested in what he has to say about these things. So, welcome, Shailesh. How are you today?
Thank you, Kim. I'm doing very well today. It's a pleasure to be here on the show
Yeah.
and also for the invitation and to talk to help others with information about twin flames and also pieces about ego and the soul.
So, what motivated you to get into this study? What was your journey that took you toward the twin flame and teaching about it?
Well, my journey is that first 36 years I was always being sensitive, and now 41. So for the audience in the timeline to know how it's going to be told. First 36 years, I was always sensitive, and eventually I could not handle my sensitivity. So I looked for, I went into partying, into using certain substance to suppress my feelings until I, now 4 years ago, met a girl, a person, and we had an instant connection. And eventually she started to look on the internet what the connection was about, and she came up with the twin flame concept. So I started to look into it, and the strong connection, the telepathic connection, the feelings that we have towards each other, it triggered a lot of good things inside of us. All our gifts started to open. But also after about half a year, our deep dark parts started to open, our shadow side. And after that, she did not want this journey anymore. And she is 16 years younger than me, so there's a big age difference there. So eventually she walked her own path, and I started to walk my own path, the spiritual path. And in that journey, I tried to control. I was a really big ego controlling person. Tried to control everything, but the soul came through, and I could not do it differently than just to surrender eventually. It took me about 1.5 years after all controlling, mind games, mind manipulation, thinking that I am not better than the rest, that I know better than the rest. And eventually seeing all the walls that I created in those years, in those decades, eventually I hit them one by one. And there was only one thing to do, and that is to surrender, look inside, and literally transform my inner self. Letting go of a lot of control, and also on the way learning more about myself and almost being busy 24/7 in developing the gifts that I have to eventually, what we're doing now, serve humanity and serve others in their journey. So that's the short version.
Right. So, so the sensitivities that you had, can you just say a little bit, because maybe some of the people that are watching today feel sensitivities and they think that maybe something's wrong with them or that it's a negative thing, but
yes,
it can be a positive thing too.
Right? Well, I was always scared for it because I could sense spirits, I could sense people's energy next to my own energy, but also energies that are living, non-living, cosmic energies that we can experience. The energy from the sun, energy from the moon, can be all kinds of, even from objects or being sensitive for TV, telephones, laptops. And what I was in the beginning, I was scared for it, so that's why I tried to escape from it. But once I learned to embrace it and also protect myself, because what I did not learn, and none of us learn, is how to protect ourselves, our energy, how to protect our energy from others' energies. Whether these are negative thoughts forms, where these are energies that people put onto us or curse us about for. And I started to protect myself and become more and more my own energy. And by protecting myself, that means putting a blue dome of protection around me, being aware of what my energy is, what the other's energy is. Cutting cords is a good way to do. Releasing the energies from the other, giving it back to them, just saying, oh, I want these energies from the other person that are not mine. Give it back to them. And by using your inner power, your own inner strength, you will be able to use your energy to release the energies of the others. So it will not be attached to your system, which eventually, as an empath, as a clear sentient,
Right.
You can pick up on. And a lot of clear sentient empaths, they think that's something wrong with them, but there's nothing wrong with you all, with the ones who are listening and who have this learning the right way to protect yourself, ground yourself, and also knowing that eventually, instead of sucking the energy up, you can observe the energy by detecting the energy and then choosing if you want to react to it or not and how you want to react to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's a consciousness about it instead of just collapsing into yourself
Yes.
or hiding, having to hide or make your surrounding quiet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Correct. So, and that's also the escape, is being afraid of that we feel certain things and others judge us for it. Like, oh, that person is really sensitive. Don't tell this or that to him, or to him or her. Or that person is acting out, or that person is kind of you can get all kinds of judgment for being sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
And having certain emotions, but they do not always have to be your stuff. You can act out and suck up other people's energies and act out their stuff. And it happened to me multiple times that when being connected with someone, especially when you're intimate with someone, you have a soulmate or a twin flame or a boyfriend, girlfriend, that you can suck up their stuff as an empath and also act that out without even knowing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then thinking that it's you, because then you get the blame, it's you. But in the meanwhile, it's not only that part of it is inside of us, a certain energy can be triggered, but we also can suck up others' energies that can get into our energy system. And there are several ways to simply clear that and get a good night's rest, to wake up more happy, more fulfilled, and also throughout the day. So, and I can know 4 years ago when all my gifts opened, I can really tell you, I really thought that at a certain moment that I really thought I have to check into a mental hospital.
Mm.
Because I really thought I was going crazy from someone who's come from the IT, completely ego, completely rational thinking, into the whole opening of all the feelings and not knowing what is. And feeling everything, feeling people from all over the world, feeling people. I'm a male, but it's a really strange feeling when you can already predict the pregnancy from friends without them even knowing, and you feeling sick, or even their uh, menstrual period, and that's not a nice, pleasant thing to experience. I can so respect for that because it's not. But as empath, especially for the listeners, there are ways to deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. So you mentioned, and we talked a little bit in the beginning about the twin flame, and I know last week when I talked to you, I asked you about that because I didn't know what it was, and after you talked about it, I realized, oh, I understand the concept. But would you talk about that for the people who don't know, and just talk about
Yes,
what that is?
sure. Twin flame. Twin flame there is a broad theory about what twin flame is. Let me start at the beginning from the knowledge that I now have and how it eventually starts. Eventually, the twin flame is what we from the human mind create as a concept to understand something that we cannot understand. Just like a twin flame, it means that from the first moment of that we got separated from the God spark, from the all, as a soul, we had a separation from the God spark, and almost immediately after that separation, we also separated, that soul separated in a female part and a male part. And both of them had a feminine energy and male energy, masculine energy in it. And they start to reincarnate through all the different, we do not even know if it's 100 lifetimes or thousands of lifetimes. And in those lifetimes, they eventually come together. When they do not incarnate together, then they can help each other to grow. So what a twin flame is, the concept is that they share energy and a certain frequency to a certain degree, that when we meet our twin flame, we have instant recognition. But our human mind, and with all the twin flame heals that I worked with, and all the information that is available, and also working with hundreds of clients in my own practice, I can say that the twin flame is a concept. And what happens when we start to read something about it on the internet, we already limit our beliefs that if a certain person fits the fits the match that is described, like, oh, we have telepathic connection, we have strong connection, oh, we have so much unconditional love, all those checks, then we say, oh, that must be our twin flame. But the twin flame, a lot of people ask me, clients ask me, oh, who is my twin flame? Can you tell me, is this person my twin flame? And there's only one answer to that. No one can, and this might be a bummer for a lot of people, but I also like to be really honest and not sell something that is not sellable. And only you, the one who encounters the twin flame, will know it in your heart. No twin flame healer, no psychic, no Akashic record master, no one can tell you who your twin flame is. I tried them all. I looked into the Akashic records. I can read the Akashic records. And the answer that I got from the Akashic record masters is twin flame is a concept, and you already know it. And everyone in this whole journey, and also who's listening, already knows this inside of them. Because all the answers, everything that I tell, is already in each of you. The only thing is that me and Kim here are helping you to find that again.
Yeah, so, people may often say, I want to meet my twin flame, or I want to meet my soulmate, that kind of thing. But, and like you said, it seems like, oh, we have, it's instant love, or we like the same things, or it's, it's destined to be. But as you stay there for a while with them, After
Mhm.
a while, like what your experience was, what happens?
Yes, well, a lot happens. The first moment that happens is instant recognition, and you believe that it is a fairy tale. It can be so magical because everything, when you completely open up and your whole soul and you grasp the complete sense of what your soul capabilities are, and also experience that with someone else, it's really is magical. So the universe shows us this is the magic you can achieve. And then after that, some people, a twin flame does not have to be a romantic partner. A twin flame can also be a child, that you have mother child or brother sisters or deceased one or so it can be all kinds of. So twin flame concept, especially when we meet our twin flame, we try to put it into the conditioned love relationship, because that's how we learned about love on television. Our love is this on social media and internet, from school. But it's all conditioned love. You did this for me, I do this for you, and we love each other. Unconditional love is literally no matter what. So what happens in the twin flame relationship when we meet our twin and we go on in the journey, eventually the soul starts to subside a little bit because the ego that is already born with us from the first moment that we came here on the planet, um, it also starts to fight back. And the ego is created due to not feeling unconditional love from our parents, from our environment. So it started to create all kinds of protections and strategies. And with the whole journey, when we meet our twin, those all come up. They all come to the surface. So the twin flame journey is eventually the journey towards unconditional love towards ourselves, completely doing all the shadow work. There must be no ego, there must be no control, there must be no grasping, no clinging, no needing. All that has to go. And as we have learned to look constantly at the other, we blame the other. So the ego starts to, oh, it's our twin. Oh, it's he or it's she. And then we get who makes us get angry or who's hurting us. But it's not that. The hurt is already inside of us. The other one, the twin, only mirrors, because it's the biggest reflection that we can have, the twin. That's why it's called the twin flame. It mirrors our own hurt, pain from the past, insecurities from this, for the ones who believe in past lifetimes. Our past lifetimes bring it up to the surface. And what happens is when you have a situation with your twin, that you then start, two egos starts to come up and you start to blame, you become hostile, you start to separate, you think in separation, like, oh, now we're separated, and you start to create phases in the twin flame journey, just like on internet, it's talking about phases. It's not, there is no phases. The soul does not have a face because it's the whole twin flame journey is about the soul connection, but we try to put it into the ego connection. And that is where it goes wrong. And two lovers or two twin flames cannot hold the same high vibration that where they started at. And if one is more evolved than the other, and most of the time one is spiritually more evolved than the other, but still has their own stuff to deal with. So it can be that the one more evolved has only 10% of the issue, of the problem inside him, and the other person has 90%. And that 10% can just, without even saying something, subconsciously, by the energy, trigger instant the 90% of the other. And they start to act out because the ego goes into defensive mode. And then you have the fights between the twins.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how you can see it, and they come together because then there's more love. They heal each heal parts of them, or they go into another relationship to heal, or they do inner healing, and that eventually helps the vibration to align again and come together. So that's how we also attract others.
So would you say in that process, even though it's really hard, and we think we don't like it, we have to be grateful, because it's help. If we can be grateful, then the way that I can see it here is that gratefulness will help us bring us closer to our soul and sit us in our soul rather than to take identity with the ego.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes, it's how you can see it. Each pain that we experience, we already have, when we do not experience a certain pain and we get triggered a certain pain, we were already in survival mode. Because we did not want that pain to arise. So the ego created a protective layer around it. But at the moment that we start to experience that pain, especially with the twin flame who reflects it, we can have so much pain inside of us that we really think that we're about to die. That's the soul pain. We really think that we're about to die. But it's not the person that is about to die, the body, it is the pain that is about to die. And after the dying, and it's also a piece of ego death, so the ego starts to die a little bit. Behind that, there's the soul, and there's life, there's happiness, there's strength, there's inner peace, there's worthiness, all positive positivity inside of us that makes us eventually love, that we can send out love, help others. When I started this journey, I also looked for help with other twin flame healers. Now I help other people as a twin flame healer, also due to my own experience. But we will have everyone in this journey. With twin flame, it's even more intense. We'll have certain ego deaths, so attachments, things that we're attached to, completely out of the blue vaporize, or we lose it. And it is something that our soul already chose to do. But our soul is already 10 miles in front of us, and we're trying to catch up. That's how you can see it. So, and by going through this process of pain, of gratitude, because every growth, if there's no pain, there will never be growth. Because if we do not grow, we will stand still, and it would be a very dull world, wouldn't it?
That's why we have to be grateful, right?
Yes, indeed. Only for that we can be grateful, but also for the things around us. Gratefulness does not have to be like, I'm grateful for simple things like, oh, I'm still alive. Start with that, oh, waking up in the morning, I'm still breathing. It doesn't matter if I'm having this twin flame journey, I'm still alive.
Right.
I'm breathing. Do I have a problem? No. And what I can really give certain people in this twin flame journey, that will really help, is mindfulness will help. And what helped me even more eventually through the journey, because it's a journey. So you go to a next level, you become more aware, more conscious for things that resonate. Living in the now. And there's a lot of things from Eckhart Tolle for free on YouTube. I would really recommend for twin flames to go in the now, because as twin flame, when you're on this journey, you're constantly busy with the past and the now, past and the future. And right. That does not work out very well for no one. Because some twins want to have babies already with the other partner. And the other partner is like, what? I don't want babies with you. And that hurts. Then the old pains come up. And it can be female template, can be consciousness, collective consciousness, can be due to inner, can be due to ancestral templates. So all those pain arise because it is a piece of a burden that we took. I don't see it as a burden. It is a piece of helping the world and humanity and our family, our surroundings to evolve to a higher form of love. So that's only therefore we can already be grateful for that we took on this job.
Right. So, do you have any like practical advice or suggestions for people who may be struggling with their relationships with their significant other or even a friend or that has those aspects that you're talking about that are like the twin flame?
Some are really plain simple. The whole twin flame journey is also about self. In
About
every relation, self-love.
self-love, right?
Yeah, and every relationship is about self-love. You can see it, whether it's twin flame, strong soul connection, any other relationship. And so I can give this to everyone, is that when you want to commune better with the other or even attract the other back into your life, what you can do is first get out of the mind, because the mind is constantly thinking about the other, judging the other, blaming the other for stuff that they didn't do. And how you can do this, I'm going to give a clearing for this, so people can re-listen to it and use it or write it down and just integrate it into their daily life. And it will help them a lot. So getting first out of the mind. How do you get first out of the mind? Is by saying the following. I release all attachments to any negative thoughts that I have and I am projecting towards myself and or towards others. I release all attachments to any situations, any people, any objects, and also release and let go of all expectations. Clear and release for me towards others, others towards me now. And you most likely, well, almost certain will feel a shift happening at the instant. And now I give the command, but at the moment that you start to do it for yourself, you will be using your own energy even stronger. So that is the first thing, getting out of the mind. Next is taking three deep breathers from in. Visualize all the energy from your head going down to your heart while you breathe out. So in and down, out. And do that consciously, so you feel that your mind becomes empty and your heart becomes more filled. And a simple thing to send out unconditional love. Once you love yourself, you can send out unconditional love. That means that you keep the focus and awareness in your heart. Think of the most pleasant moment that you had with that other person, and also feel that moment, how it felt, how happy you were, how your emotions were, how the surroundings were, and fill your heart up with that energy. And then you send it inside yourself through your whole body, inside your energy field, and you can just say, I send this inside my body, let it go through my whole body. This feeling of happiness, this feeling of love, unconditional love, into my energy field. And then you send it from your heart as a ray towards the other person, to their heart, without any demanding, without any clinging, grasping, expectations. At the moment that you start to do all those kinds of things, it will not work in a good way, because there will be control and that will be ego. I want that person to be with me, so I'm going to try to get grasp with the other person. Unconditional love means no matter what. So only send it out and they will feel it and they will react to it. That's how the universe works with love.
Right. Heal yourself and then send
Heal
it.
the other. Yeah.
Right.
And by just being, eventually, you will heal the other. It's not healing the other. By just being, it automatically starts to shift, because you're just being who you are, and not some ego or some sub-personality that the ego can create and start to act that out and project it towards the other.
Right. So you're creating and allowing and accepting place.
Indeed, without any resistance.
Mm-hmm. Right. So it takes practice and work, and it's beautiful. It's actually, I mean, it can happen in a second, right?
It can happen in a second. It depends on how determined you are that you want to make it happen. And well, these two can help if you do a small meditation of 10, 20 minutes prior. Then you're more at ease, more at rest, already more connected with your own inner being. And then doing the sending out from your heart with the emotions, not only the thought from I love you, but also the emotions, how it feels that you love that person. Mm-hmm. And that is the most powerful thing that there is.
Right.
That already shifts a lot of energy.
Right. And we can choose that.
Yeah, correct. It's we can choose it. And if we believe that we cannot choose it, then it comes to the point, okay, what did the ego create that is blocking me from eventually loving myself and loving the other?
Mm-hmm. Right, right. It is, yeah, right. And it is possible. I mean, if we know that it is possible, then
there are thousands of people, including me, that are already there.
Right.
And gone through this process. I wouldn't try to encourage the others. Like, okay, go for it. It is already there. It's not a goal that you can achieve. It depends on how you take it from the now, from here, now, and what you do with it, and how mindful you will be for your own thoughts. So releasing the attachment, releasing the thoughts, each time they come up, you can simply, a lot simple thing, you can simply say things like, oh, thought comes up. Oh, that person does not look nice. Oh, that dress is really, I wouldn't put that color on her. Then at that moment, when you detect that, you just say to yourself, I clear and release this negative thought for me and for the other. Clear. And you will see that that thought will instantly go away. And when it comes back, you do it again. So you will retrain your ego mind chatter to silence. It is just like reconditioning children, reconditioning human beings, a new behavior, because the behavior is already there for years, for decades.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, I think we're out of time pretty much. So thank you so much. And I know you have a free gift to offer. Would you just tell the listeners what that is?
Yes, I have a webinar that I made, and that is about balancing your energy and also self-love. And in this webinar, I will give you healing and clearing, also how to balance your energies, and also talk about self-love. So there will be a lot of information that will help people about internal and external self-love, but also the healing and clearing that I integrated into this. When I started doing this, it was the first healing clinic that I did for clients, and it shifts already a lot of gunk that a lot of people have been carrying for years, didn't even know that they were carrying. Mm. So I would recommend and advise to get the link and download it and listen to it. And well, if there are any questions, people then know where to find me.
Right. Do you want to say how they connect with you? We will have a link for everything here, but they can just click. But would you say your website?
Well, people for any soul are questions, questions, therapy questions. Twin Flame, especially Twin Flames, of course, can go to twinflamelove.com or transform www.transformyourinnerself.com.
Right.
And trust me, it is possible. 3.5 years ago, no one, if you would have told me, oh, you're going to be talking in this interview with Kim, I would really say, yeah, you're crazy. And now, yes, you never know where life can take you, where your soul can take you.
Right. I really enjoyed talking to you. And thank you, everybody, for coming. And we'll see you next time. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.